Hello YouTube family, it's Victoria. I am going to do a bottom surgery update. So I had bottom surgery April 13th of 2021 and it is now January 20 something or other of 2023. So about 20 months post-surgery, and I'm very happy with my new plumbing. Anyways. Let me just kind of give you like a brief overview of what it was like, and then I'll tell you what it's like now. So at the beginning of the surgery, post-surgery, you know, the first month, it's 4 times dilations a day, and then 3 times for the next 2 months. And then slowly it starts tapering off until you get to a year, and then it is once a week, approximately, or lots of sex, or lots of penetrative sex at least. Anyways, so that is one of the options, but dilations aside, it has been a very wonderful experience psychologically, physically, emotionally, obviously, all of those things. So post-surgery, it's one of those things you're not gonna, you know, there's no sex for a few months, and you really kind of see it as like a surgical site. There's, as much as it doesn't look very great either. It doesn't look great either, but now it looks very much like, I guess they call it the Barbie vagina. So it's like my design, I call her my designer vagina. So yeah. And it took, I mean, I know some people get their first big O after a few months. It took me over a year. Yeah, which is kind of shocking. I almost gave up, to be honest with you. I thought it was just never going to happen for me, to be honest with you. But even if that was the case, I think I would have been okay with it, to be totally honest with you. It wasn't about that. I mean, I still enjoyed sex regardless of orgasms or not, to be honest with you. It was just kind of, I figured it was kind of the cost of having my body in alignment with my brain and the rest of me. So, but anyways, so I guess this is going to get a little bit more graphic now, but I had just kind of thought to myself, well, now that my plumbing is different, maybe the way I'm supposed to have sex is supposed to be different too, and everything is going to be different about it. And so for me personally, I'm very dominant and toppy, and I was kind of trying to take a different kind of role in sex and otherwise, and it just wasn't working for me. I was desperately trying to rework my brain to fit the plumbing, and honestly, it was so silly. And then one day, I was just kind of sitting on the couch, and I was like, you know, what worked for me before? And I started thinking about what worked for me before, and instead of lying on my back, which doesn't work, I turned around and kind of took the kind of dominant toppy role, and all of a sudden, you know, it turned the same sensation into an entirely different feeling. So I went from, you know, feeling the motions and feeling all this stuff, but not really being turned on in my head, and really, you know, like orgasms and all that stuff, that all starts in the mind. It doesn't happen in the genitals. So I reworked this idea of what it's supposed to be like, and I realized, well, what really works for me? Who am I, and how is this different, you know? And so I was never a bottom. I was never like subby. I was trying to put on that hat, and it never felt right. Me being a bottom, I'm 6'2", jacked, like anyways. So anyways, I totally I was trying to almost, again, trying to be something that I wasn't, and it just wasn't working. And I tried over and over and over again, and then finally I was like, well, I'm not a sub, and I'm not a bottom, and I'm not that way. I know what I like to do, and I know how I like to have sex, and I know how anyways, and all of a sudden, like, there was like almost like a switch flipped in my mind, and I went from going through the motions to really actually being turned on. So it's such a psychologically interesting experience to go from one to the other, but nonetheless, I really got to kind of, and I think maybe one of the problems was that I associated being female with being a bottom or being a sub, and that's kind of like the separation of gender and sexuality. Gender and sexuality are two very different spheres. Many people relate the two things. You know, they think, okay, well, if you're a boy, then you have to be attracted to women. That's just idiotic. Obviously, gender is one thing and sexuality is a different thing. So it's amazing how mainstream society doesn't really give us that information. They just assume, and they lead you to believe that you can only have it that one way. So anyways, I realized that I didn't have to be a bottom or a sub to be a female. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was all this like almost pre-programming moronic kind of diatribe that, you know, like, we are told by society of what to believe and how we're supposed to be, and it didn't work for me. So I kind of reworked it in my mind, and I was like, oh, I can be a girl, I can be a dom, I can be a top. I don't have to just, you know, I just changed everything about how I perceived sex and how I perceived my new plumbing and my vagina, and I just love it now. So anyways, I know it sounds so absurd, but that was a really big turning point in my psychological understanding of the expectations that I was placing upon myself that were really unnecessary, and finally it really changed everything about how I saw myself. So one of the things, for example, my height, I'm over 6 feet tall. I'm got a presence. So I'm, you know, I'm muscular, and as one person said it recently, I've got a very athletic body. So it is what it is, and for the longest time, those things really bothered me. They gave me a lot of dysphoria. And all of a sudden, height, strength, presence, they really work for me. Being who I am, all of a sudden, my height and my strength and my presence are all of a sudden big positives. And it allowed me to change how I perceive myself. It allowed me to really embrace who I am. And it's such a change, you know, just accepting who you are and moving forward. And luckily for me, that's kind of how it worked. I was able to, the things somehow aligned. So anyways, now the way it works currently. So everything in terms of like dilations, I only dilate once a week now. I really haven't been able to maintain the depth the same way that I used to be able to. I'll show you the dilator. Let me just pull it out. Oh, it's not even here. Okay, well, I'll show you one of them. So this is one of the dilators. This is a small one. I have two bigger ones. but they're the same length regardless. So this is the small one that I don't even use. And see how there's 4 dots here? Oh, 5 dots. I can get it to the 4th dot, I think, or something like that. Anyway, so more than an adequate depth, and the 2 different ones are thicker than this one and they hurt, but whatever. So I only have to do it once a week now, and I just do it while I'm watching Love Island or something on Netflix or Crave or whatever it is. So it's not terrible. I just have to set aside a certain amount of time to do it, and that's that. It's so funny. I used to wear all this like clunky underwear that would like hold me all in and all that stuff, and now my underwear is like this big. So, and I love it. So it is one of the joys of having this plumbing that I didn't have before. So yeah, and really for me personally, I always knew that I was going to get bottom surgery. Once I kind of figured out that I was actually trans, it was like, okay, well, I am getting bottom surgery 100%, and I'm going to, like, it was never in question. I knew it didn't matter how much it was going to hurt. It didn't matter if I never had an orgasm again. And now we go to the orgasm part. So, what was it like, the orgasm? It's crazy. Pre-transition, the orgasm is up and down. It's like over in, for me at least, it was over in like, you know, snap of a finger. Post-surgery orgasm is different for me personally. I mean, I'm sure it's different for everybody, but I think that the high is a little bit lower than the other one. And then, but instead of going straight back down, it's kind of more like a slow taper off. So there's a lot more, it lasts longer, it is more, although less intense, maybe, it is definitely different. And there is no refractory period, which is great. So no refractory period, no downtime. You can pretty much go right away. So that's wonderful. So that's way too much information. But anyway, so that's what it is. So bottom surgery update, 20 months post-surgery, everything is wonderful. I was very lucky with mine. I had really no complications, and I had the penile inversion technique at Montreal with Dr. Brassard. So April 13th of 2021. So hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please subscribe, and see you later. Bye, everybody.